Mobile games account for roughly 50% of the gaming market thanks to how accessible they are. Pretty much everyone in 2023 has a smartphone, whereas many people around the world don't own a gaming console or PC due to their niche use case or for how expensive they are. Furthermore, the most played mobile games are often fairly simple, like Geometry Dash or Fruit Ninja, as they're meant to be played for short periods to kill time. Which is why today I wanted to challenge myself to make a hyper casual game, and to make things a little more interesting, I'll only give myself 1 hour. Now before I get started, I need a plan. I had to answer questions like what game was I going to make, what programs will I use, and how ambitious should the project be. As always, I'm going to use Unity, as it's free and the one that I have the most experience with. And the game I was planning on making was a simple top-down shooter, where the player tries to avoid incoming enemies by shooting projectiles. With the basic plan in motion, I opened Unity and the challenge had officially begun. So I started off by adding a cube, which I then transformed to make a ground for my game. I then added the player using a cube asset. Now the reason why I was using a cube is to avoid the need for animations, which means I can spend more time adding as many game mechanics as possible within the hour. I then adjusted the scale and messed around with the camera to find the right angle, experimenting with the top down and behind the character view. As this game was a survival shooter, it made most sense to have it top down, so I settled with that. I then copy and pasted an old movement script that I had from a previous game project, which allowed the cube to move around. Now, the problem that I had with the top down view was that it was hard to tell whether the cube was moving around or not. In order to fix this, I replaced the grey colour to a grid-like texture, which significantly improved the game's aesthetic. With the basics done, I worked on making the enemy AI, and after doing some intense coding, I managed to make the enemy cube follow the player. But it wasn't working properly. Luckily, after spending some time tinkering the attributes such as speed and physics colliders, I managed to make it work. Now, with half an hour remaining, I got completely sidetracked, trying to make the game look cool. I tried adding trails and particle effects to the enemy cubes, but it looked funny, so I scrapped that idea. But I messed around with the lighting effects and added a spotlight, which I think makes the game look so much cooler. With my 1 hour quickly coming to an end, the final thing that I needed to add was shooting mechanics, so I quickly edited the player cube to make it look like a tank. Now a problem I ran into was that I didn't know how to implement bullet mechanics, as I have never done that before, and time was quickly running out with only 10 minutes left. So I ended up using ChatGPT to generate a bullet script, which sort of worked. So in the remaining time I had left, I tweaked the script and made it work better. And I also made a quick script which allowed the enemy cube to disappear when it came in contact with the bullet. And by the time I managed to do all this, my hour was finished. I'm happy with the progress that I made, and with that said, here is what I managed to make.